saying, hey, I didn't come out as well as I wanted to. Hey, I had some red this year. Hey, this is my first year of trading and I saw that's a little bit harder than what I anticipated. Well, you know what? Make 2020 your next big year, right? That's the greatest thing about moving into a new year. I know we're just literally going from, today into tomorrow. I know, again, we're going to be back on Thursday and we'll be ready for a brand new day ahead. But it is a chance for you to say, hey, you know what? Let me set new goals. Let me have a new start here. Let me make sure that this year is going to only progress on the year I'm coming off of right now, right? If you had an awesome 2019, hey, I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. And you guys absolutely deserve that awesome year. But don't, again, get comfortable. Once you get comfortable, you're staying still. Once you get comfortable, you're not progressing, right? What did people always say? Seek discomfort, get after it. Because the moment you say, hey, you know what, I'm nice and comfy on where I'm at, that's where you're going to start seeing your profits get a little bit lower. That's when, again, things are going to start going south for you. Make sure you are constantly pushing yourself. No such thing as taking time off. No such thing as not staying productive. Every single day of 2020, stay motivated to always learn something new. Stay motivated to constantly get new trades done, to make the biggest profit you have. And again, that's what I am so fired about going into 2020. So let's dive into this day of the final day of 2019 and let's talk about it, guys. But I'm fired up and I hope you guys are as well. So what we have here is Happy New Year's Eve. I hope everyone is just as excited as I am to move into the new year, as we have some amazing things lined up. Number one, the chat room will be open 24/7 starting mid-January. Cue the soundboard of all the applause. Yeah, right? That is something that, of course, you guys have been looking forward to. I will just turn off the live stream at night, but you guys will be able to have access to your chat rooms, throughout the whole entire evening, and you guys will be all set. What else do we have coming on up? I will be starting the $100,000 challenge, which are a live trade until I hit that $1 million mark. That is something that you guys have heard of. As you guys know, I am so excited to be diving in on that, and that is going to be the biggest challenge, probably one of the most fun things we have ever done. You do not want to miss it. Number three, we are allowing new streamers from day traders to options to Forex and everything in between on TradeCaster. You'll be able to view all streamers, right? So again, underneath your membership, you guys are going to have access to so many different chats, live streams, and of course the video library. So it's going to be so great for you to be able to learn from so many other traders as well, right? 2020 is going to be the biggest year we have ever had. I look forward to working with you. Deckmar Trades will be moving to our 5 year, moving into our 5th year, excuse me. And we only have this amazing reputation because of how great you guys are. So thank you for being part of our chat and making it what it is. Going into the new year, we are moving into 5 years of Deckmar Trades, which is absolutely awesome. And again, the reputation we have, us being as a chat room so big and so successful, having the reputation we have, it really does come down to how great you guys are as a chat, as so many people are so helpful, so willing to help new traders, and on top of that, just being great traders, putting awesome alerts. You guys make it so great, and I want to thank every single person in chat for being part of this chat. So thank you so much. I look forward to an awesome 2020 ahead. All right, so that is going to be what we're kind of looking at, going into the new year. As you guys know, little sign up right here. Happy New Year's Eve. There will be not afternoon commentary. Again, there's no afternoon commentary today until again Thursday. As you guys know, the stock market is closed tomorrow. There's no stock market tomorrow. It is New Year's Day, and again, the stock market's off. I know most of you guys are probably doing what tonight? Most of you guys are probably going out. Most of you guys are probably, going to a family friends, going to a bar, going to some sort of party, or again, just sitting on your couch and cracking open maybe a little bottle of wine and celebrating the new year, whatever you guys want. But there is no stock market tomorrow. And also, what I'm saying right here, we want to be trading in the morning. Now, why do we want to be trading in the morning today? Well, again, it makes sense. As I always say, for the holiday, a lot of people are going to be wrapping up early. A lot of people go to a city. A lot of people go to a friend's house. A lot of people have to set up for some sort of party. Volume is going to be lower as the day progresses. Starting Thursday, guys, we are back to our regular scheduled program, right? That is morning commentary from 9 in the morning till 12 o'clock, and then 2:30 to 4 o'clock. All right, so starting Thursday, we are back to our regular scheduled program. No more again wrapping up, around like 11 o'clock. No more, or no afternoon training commentary. We are doing our first 3 hours of the day, and then again our last hour and a half of the day. So that's going to be awesome to get back on our regular schedule. That all starts up on Thursday, so it's going to be absolutely great. So, let's, we do have some stocks to watch. Let's go over our market briefing and see what we have today. So, the recent stock rally came up to abrupt halt on Monday, with the major averages posting their largest decline in 4 weeks. But U.S. stock futures are pointing to a higher open for 2019's final trading day. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq are set to post their largest yearly percentage gains since 2013. Go stock market, with all the major averages still near record highs despite Monday's slide. All 11 S&P sectors are higher for 2019, led by technology. Energy is the weakest S&P sector for the year, but the strongest for December. So, what we have right here, guys, the stock market is going to be posting its largest yearly percentage since 2013, which is absolutely awesome, especially for anyone with 401k, especially with anyone who has some sort of retirement fund, right? The SPY went from 235 all the way up to 320 over the past year. We have gone on an awesome move, an awesome climb, and it's been so great to see the SPY be able to continue to move on up all the way up above that 320 mark, hitting highs up towards around that 323, 324 area. So the SPY has been awesome, and it has been just such a great year for 2019 in the stock market. What do we have today? On today's economic calendar, the S&P Case-Shiller report on October home prices come out at 9 a.m., which it just did, while the Conference Board issues its December Consumer Confidence Index at 10 a.m. No earnings reports are on today's calendar. We'll be off tomorrow along with the markets. We at the Morning Squawk wish you a safe and happy New Year's. Thank you, Morning Squawk. Thank you, CNBC. So the big question, of course, that you guys are going to be asking yourself is, Deck, what are we going to be getting ourselves into on the final day of 2019? What are we going to be buying? What are we going to be getting today right here? Well, it comes down to what? Figuring out where the volume is going to be going, figuring out where that hype is, figuring out where that momentum is going to be going. And what was so interesting about today? Well, we already saw one massive play, and that was NVCN. So NVCN this morning went from where? We went from $4 and we spiked all the way up towards 11.55. It was a great move. It was a great rip. It was a great run. This is about a $6 or a $7 spike right here, NVCN. We have about a $7 spike this morning where the stock went from $7 and or excuse me, 7 o'clock all the way up towards around 7:40. A 40-minute span. We ran 11 bucks. How crazy is that? In a 40-minute span, we ran $11, right? Huge. Or $7, excuse me, up to that $11 mark. But what did you know? NVCN did give everything back. It, dumped all the way back on off and came all the way back down to 650. Now, why did that happen, right? And I know I talked about it a little bit at 8 o'clock, but if you guys look right here, NVCN, what do we have? The stock came out with a press release that talks about approval on its application to the FDA, right? Now, is this good? Yes, it's good, because if we look at our keywords, look for hot press releases, what do we know right here? We do have approval and FDA. And you can see these are two-star words, right? Two-star words right here. Approval and FDA. Not too bad. But the thing is, it's approval on its application, right? I'm going to give the analogy I've been giving. When you guys apply to college, right? What do you guys look for? You look for approval on your application, basically saying that you've been accepted to this college. But, that doesn't mean you just go ahead and, throw the biggest, party of your life and say, hey, I did it. I did it, right? It's a good start, but guess what? Now you have 4 years of hard work before you get your degree, right? When you have approval on your application for this new drug, for this new reducer, it doesn't mean all of a sudden you've made millions of dollars. It doesn't mean that this drug or reducer works. It doesn't mean that you have a lot of success with it, right? Just like in college, you have 4 years of work. Now that all the work begins. Now you're allowed to work on it, right? It's like being a little kid and saying, "Hey, can I go sleep over Jake's?" Right? So you're asking your mom, can I go over Jake's house to sleep over? But then what happens? Your mom could say yes or no. If she says yes, again, you're not at Jake's, you're not sleeping over yet, but you just got, permission to. So, approval on an application doesn't really mean that much. And the fact that NVCN went from $4 to $11, I was like, hey, let's kind of take it a little easy here, right? And that's why I also I post this in alerts chat if you want to go check this out. But I also put out my Twitter and stock tweets as well. Where what did I say? I was like, where is this at right here? NVCN. I said, NVCN, this is up from approval application to FDA on its reducer. This is a good PR, but not that good, for an $11 spike. We are now breaking $10 on nothing but hype. A 2 million in float that everyone sees that is spiking, so everyone keeps buying in. Is it a moneymaker? 100%, but be smart, as this thing could come right back on down, right? And as you guys know, what happened next? Right? Please leave my last tweet. NVCN was up on nothing but momentum and fluff. This was easy not to chase, as approval on application is honestly not that great. Dump. And look what happened right here. Right? Look what happened right here. NVCN just dumped right on off and gave everything back. Right? You can't always just get caught up with the hype of a play. Does hype bring in momentum? Yes. Does hype bring in money? Yes. But if you are late to the stock and you know you're late to the play, you have to have some common sense and say to yourself, this thing is most likely not going to be able to hold, right? So NVCN, where the stock, came back on down, where the stock, dumped on off, and that was just because the press release wasn't that great. It was more running on the fact that it's only a 2 million in float stock. People are trying to get that final trade in of 2019, and again, it just caught a little bit of fire, right? But NVCN did come on down, and now the mob is available for everyone, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, the mob is the majority of the buyers, the majority of the buyers in the stock market. So if everyone out of 100 people, make it nice and simple, let's say 95% of people were looking at NVCN, well, NVCN started dumping on off. Now, are there some people looking over on NVCN? Yes, there's probably still, let's say 15 people still playing NVCN, but there's, also probably 15 people looking at NURO, right? And there's probably 15 people looking maybe over towards FCell, right? And there's probably 15 people looking over towards, NIO, and there's some people looking over towards SVRA, right? There's definitely a lot of stocks out there that have potential, and the mob is open for the taking, right? There's not one play right now that I think every single person is going to be doing what. There's not one play right now that every single person's running into. We did have that with NVCN, but NVCN started giving a lot back. NVCN started falling. NVCN started dumping. So, there isn't one play right now that has every single person looking at it. And that's what I want you guys to understand. Okay? So, where are our options? What stocks can we get involved with today? What stocks do we want to be looking at today? Well, here's a nice little list kind of kicking us off, our top stocks to watch. Now, these are previous top gainers, and these are stocks that are gapping up in pre-market, but let's go over them and let's talk about them a little bit. So top stocks to watch, we're going to start with number one right here, NURO. So our number one play right here, NURO, what is going on? Well, NURO this morning had insider buying. Okay, so we had insider buying here, and this is where. Jim, is there a market clock that I'm missing on the stream? Nope, no market clock right here. You can just look at the bottom right hand corner if you want to. That says the clock. It's currently 9:20. Market opens up in about 10 minutes. Um, so what do we have going on with NURO? NURO this morning had insider buying. You could see stock options at 458, right? Common stock bought 50,000 shares at 458. All right. So that is allowing NURO to start moving on up, and this stock could possibly get hype. So we have 50,000 shares bought at the price of 458 at 12.29, which was yesterday, right? NURO, this play is only 891,000 in float, right? We just had NVCN run, which is a 2 million in float stock, on approval of its application. Now we have a stock under 1 million in float. We have a stock that has insider buying and a stock that could easily spike on up if the mob does move into it. $5 is a resistance line, and the 200-day moving average at around 515 is going to be a resistance line as well. Okay, so we have two resistance lines that we need to be able to break on out. We have the $5 mark, and then we also have the 200-day moving average at around the 515ish mark. All right, so NURO, this one could definitely bring in a lot of momentum, and this is one of my top watch plays this morning. I think there's a lot of hype behind it. I think the stock could definitely, catch that mob hype towards it and possibly could take on off. All right. So NURO, something that we definitely want to watch. What else do we want to watch this morning? Well, we also want to keep our eyes. Let's check out FCell. And again, I didn't type out the links as I usually do. I'm just typing out again what areas you want to see break. So FCell, we're looking for a 230 break. Now, why would we want to look at FCell? Well, if we take a look at an FCell right here, we are having a very good daily chart. Look at this daily chart squeeze. 200-day moving average up top, 13 EMA squeezing. The stock is having a gap up after having 2 days of being a top gainer, right? When we look for indicators to squeeze, what do we look for? Again, it doesn't matter if it's the 13 EMA and the 50-day moving average. In this case, it's the 13 EMA and 200-day moving average. But all we're looking for is a squeeze. And you can see right here, FCell had a wonderful squeeze back on Thursday, had a great squeeze continuation on Friday, had a nice pop yesterday on Monday, and another gap up today on Tuesday. FCell is one that could just be a slow and steady climber, working its way on up, right? And this is a play that definitely has a lot of hype off of the squeeze. The stock could start moving its way on up, especially if it gets above this like 230-ish mark, where it has like a big U-shaped pattern forming, right? So FCell, something that we want to, be keeping our eyes peeled on. Another one, EYEG. I just have this one as this was a top gainer yesterday, but you can see EYEG doesn't really have too much volume, so we don't need to be watching that one too much at the bell. We do have SVRA, which was the number one top gainer of yesterday. If you guys were not here, you can look back at a 5-minute time frame. And SVRA started off the pre-market going from 190, spiking all the way up to $5. During the day, it didn't do too much, but the last hour of the day, it actually spiked very well. SVRA then was all the way up towards around 650 this morning in pre-market. Now it's down towards around 468. So this play uh, definitely has potential if it can get back above $5. I would not play this stock unless it could get back above $5, but anything back above $5 is when you're going to start seeing momentum push on through, is when you're going to start seeing hype, and when you're going to start seeing a lot of people say, hey, you know what, this was a top gainer of yesterday, this may start stealing the mob back towards it again. So this is definitely something I want you guys to be focused on and watching on SVRA. If this stock can do what? If this stock can break through that $5 mark, as it gets higher, the more volume that's going to move in on it, right? As it gets higher, the more volume that's going to move in, the more hype that's going to move in. But it needs to get above $5, then 540, and if you ever get back up towards like $6, it will clearly cut, have all the mob, have all the activity. After that, we have NIO. NIO, this play is just a very large float play, so it's going to be a much slower mover. If you look over on NIO right here, over on Yahoo Finance, you'd see, if we go to statistics right here, over on NIO, we could see the float. Look how big this thing is. 657 million in float. 657 million in float. So you need a lot of volume to move this play. Like, look how much volume the stock had yesterday. 430 million shares, right? That's a ton of people trading the stock. So as I always say, guys, what's the difference? A large float, right, would be like a big boulder, right? Imagine you're on a football field and you have to push this, rock 100 yards, right? You'd be here trying to push this thing up, and again, you need a lot of people to push this in a good manner, right? When a low float stock would be like what? A low float stock would be like if you were chucking a baseball, right? If you were throwing a baseball and said hiya and just chuck that baseball across, kind of bad form right there, but you would see that baseball kind of go flying across, right? And that's because it's such a low float stock. Large floats are going to be much heavier, so you need much more volume. Now, NIO went on a great rip and a great run yesterday because it had 480 million in volume. If NIO does not bring in the same amount of volume, it's going to be a little bit slower. What you should always do on NIO, because it is a bigger float play, is look for some sort of trend line. As long as that stock forms a trend line, that's when this play is going to be able to do what? Be able to just be a nice, consistent, easy mover. And you guys know how to play trend lines. Very simple, very easy. As long as it stays on the bullish side, it is considered bullish. When it goes to the bearish side, it's considered bearish. And as we know, as long as it stays on the top, you're good to hold. When it goes to the bottom, that's when, again, stop losses are hit, right? The top is good. The top is long. The top is money. The bottom is bearish. The bottom is shorters. The bottom is sellers. The bottom is stop losses, right? So again, look for a trend line on NIO if you guys are interested on that play. All right. Do we have anything else that we need to be focusing on today? Last but not least, a little bit of ONCY action. This was a top gainer of yesterday. Looking over on ONCY. Doesn't have much volume yet, but again, does have a small little gap up. Break of probably 425 to get some hype towards it. So I'm just going to make it simple. I'm going to make it easy. If you're saying, Deck, what is the top plays that you'd be looking at? Do I want to watch NVCN? Yes, let's keep NVCN on watch. But since the stock dumped on off, I don't think many people are going to say, "Hey, you know what? Let's buy into the stock that dumped on off." If anything, it's going to try to get a morning spike right at the bell, most likely, or within the first 5 to 10 minutes. So most likely, NVCN is going to try to get maybe one spike because it was such the big top gainer, and people are going to try to get it going. But it may happen within the first like 5 minutes. Okay. After that, I would say NURO. Keep on high watch for that $5 break. Breaking $5 is awesome, but I am a little nervous of that 518 area, which is the 200-day moving average. But this one has insider buying on only what 891,000 in float. I think this one could pick up really, really quick as well. All right. What else do I think is good? NIO, look for a trend line, especially if the stock could, break through that, 550 mark. What else? FCell has a great chart pattern. This one has a little bit of a trend line as well. Also, a little U-shaped break of 235 is where that stock would start getting some momentum towards it. SLGL was a top gainer yesterday. Keep it on watch. Maybe you could start getting a little bit of movement. This one had a big red candle yesterday. So I'm even just going to type those out. Again, what we have right here, stocks to watch. And I'm basically going to type them out in order. I think NURO is one we want to have. Obviously, NVCN is one we're going to want to be looking at. I want to type out NIO. I think that could get some hype. I think SLGL, and then I also think FCell. I think these are some of the top stocks to focus on right at the start of the day, and then we'll see what comes up on the high of the day momentum scanner as well. So I want to see what comes up on the high of the day momentum scanner, and starts bringing in a little bit more volume, a little bit more activity. Market opens up in about 45 seconds here. I'm going to switch our scanners out so we're all set for the day. Let's have an awesome day, guys. Final day of 2019. NURO is where I would look at right at the start, though, if I were you guys. Okay, so NURO, this is where I would start at if I were you guys. Again, this is the number one play that I would look at, especially if it could start catching some fire, especially if it could start, getting some momentum behind it. Okay. You could look for an entry, kind of down low if the stock does fall. Break of $5 is where things get interesting. My only fear is, again, if it would hit that 200-day moving average and start coming back on down. I may do a web bull trade today as well, or we bull trade today on my mobile broker. Let's see. NURO. That's where I am personally looking at to see if this is going to be able to get above that $5 mark. NVCN may try to get a little bit of hype right at the bell just because this play was such a big top gainer this morning. But I am watching that high of the day momentum scanner to see what's going to be coming on up. I stress. NURO. Keep your eyes peeled if that stock starts breaking $5. And the only reason, again, I stress that so much is just because that stock is only 891,000 in float. And if the mob moves into it, if the volume goes crazy in this play, that stock could, be your kind of final 2019 breakout. NVCN popping up on the breakout scanner over here with a quick little pop up to 840. As I said, traders are going to try to get that one moving a little bit. I'm going to switch over to that 2-minute time frame. So right now, again, we're just staying smart, seeing what's going to come on up. I'm looking at the high of the day momentum scanner right now, seeing if anything's going to stay consistent for us and be able to get a nice pop. Right now, NURO still looking at that one. That possible $5 break. NVCN giving a lot back. We don't need NVCN. Right now, NURO, guys, NURO starting to move. NURO starting to move its way on up right here. Coming right up to that 200-day moving average. Now starting to push its way on up towards 540, 530, 541. So right now, NURO just got the nice pop, and this is why I wanted to keep this one on high alert, because if the mob can all push to NURO, it's going to do this, baby. It's going to run up to 570. It's going to run up to 575. Just like that, we're able to see a nice big spike. Here could be, again, your final little play of 2019, all at the $5 break. Here's 592 on this play right here. Let's break $6 right here on NURO, baby. Let's see what we got. Came up to that $6 mark. Make sure you guys are locking in. There's the $6 break. A wooga. Here we go. So let's lock in a little bit of profit at that break of that $6 mark. And let's see what we got on this play right here. See if NURO is going to be able to keep on going. So right now, $6. Lock in probably a quarter to half. Quarter to half on $6 on this play. Quarter to half on $6. If it goes back below like 550 to 545, you may want to lock in the rest. But again, great job so far on NURO. Great job so far on NURO. Let's see if we can stay above $6 and keep on pushing here. $6, awesome break so far. Again, having a little bit of trouble at that 610 area. And that's why, again, I want you guys to be smart. But this is why, again, we were watching NURO so closely, right? This is why we were watching NURO so closely, because this stock, with this potential behind it, it doesn't get much better than this, right? And this is where we have just a lot of hype. This is where the stock could just, really take on off. Congratulations to the traders that, again, were in at this break of $5, $5.10, $5.20, $5.50, $5.60, whatever. You guys are making money, and this is what I absolutely love. So great spike so far. This stock on NURO, that is what I love to see. I am so happy about this play, especially, again, to be able to kick off or basically end, not kick off, to basically end our 2019 on, a nice easy play right here that, everyone's aware of. It is going to start having a little bit of this pullback right here. But again, this, if you're saying, Deck, how did I know that was going to spike? How did you know that this was going to be the best play? How did you know that this stock was going to get that volume? Insider buying, and the stock only has 890,000 in float, right? It only has 890,000 in float, right? If this stock NVCN spiked $11 on 2 million in float. Guys, I love the profits that are coming through right now, but make sure you guys keep them over to Profits Chat. So again, make sure you guys go throw those profits over in Profits Chat. But I love, what I'm seeing right now. So we're flooding up Talk Chat right now. So let's see how much more is left. Let's see if we can break through the $6 mark. And there's the $6 break. Keep going. 610 is holding us up though. 610's holding us up right here. And let's see. Right now, that 610 mark is the hard area. You can see. Great spike so far. Great job on this play. But NURO still that 610 mark. I want to see if we can break that thing down right now over on 610. And right now you can see we can see that NURO is still having that 610. Notice the upper shadow. I'll switch over to a 1 minute time frame right here and just notice the three upper shadows. Three upper shadows all at that top resistance line. All at that top resistance line right there. And this stock is still holding that 550 mark. Does this make sense for everyone on why this stock spiked? Does it make sense for everyone on why the stock spiked, why the stock moved, why the stock went on this run? It had insider buying, which is great news, and on top of that, it's the lowest float stock. We had NVCN spike 11 or spike $7 on not really that great of news. People are saying, hey, you know what? There's no play this morning in pre-market other than NVCN that was a good-looking play. And then what did that play do? That stock, dropped all the way on off. So the whole mob was open. The mob, which stands for the majority of the buyers, are open for whatever play, right? So NURO, that's what we were loving to see. We knew traders were going to go to the lowest float stock, especially with insider buying, and a $5 break is a great resistance line to break through, where we just start seeing a lot of big time momentum. So that is absolutely great. Shout out to everyone who made that nice money so far. What do we have over in profits chat? Let's just take a minute, guys. I just got to. What do we have here? 49 Bravo, $1,400. K Fitz, $360. BJ Watkins, $2,000. Trade SMTL, $66. Taylor Trader, $781. CT, $250 in 30 seconds. Let's go, babies. Let's keep it up. And let's see what else we can, get our hands into right here. So that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Also, talking about this as well. But again, we also have our text alerts, which I sent out. Sent this one out right around 9:29. Said NURO number one play to watch for a $5 break. My concern is the 200-day moving average at 518. High alert if volume moves in. Insider buying. But again, that's also what I type out in chat. So if you're a person who can't be in chat 24/7, text alerts are a great option. But of course, I type that stuff out and talk to you in chat. But let's see what else we can get our hands in, because right now NURO, that was a beautiful, beautiful play on that stock, and I want to see, and it is coming back on down. So we want to see what else we have, what else we can look for though. I know IMAC is trying to get a little bit of volume. IMAC spiked and gave a lot back. Again, IMAC also has a history of what? Look at all the upper shadows. You can see a little upper shadow right here, upper shadow right here. Look at the last time it spiked. Upper shadow right here, upper shadow right here. Right? Stocks are like what? Stock, when you look at a stock, look at the genetics of a stock. Right? If your parents are tall, you're probably going to be tall. If your parents have red hair, you're probably going to have red hair. Right? If you look at a stock and a stock has upper shadows, most likely if you're on a breakout, it's going to have an upper shadow, which means it spikes and dumps on off. If a stock is a slow and steady climber and never breaks out hard, it's probably, again, when you buy in on it, going to be a slow and steady climber and not break out hard. Just look at the past to be able to tell the future. Right now, ONCY, let's put ONCY on the top, $5 top resistance. So ONCY up at the top, $5 top resistance. This has been a top gainer for about the past 3 to 4 days in a row, and this play could definitely have some continuation towards it. So right now, ONCY, $5 top resistance line. We need to be very, very careful on that. Again, we're looking for. We know what we know. We know as we move on through the day, right? We know as we move through this day, we are going to lose volume due to the holiday, and that's why we definitely want to be able to make our money. If you guys are going after today, if you guys are trading, you want to do it within the next hour. You want to do it within that next hour. Rapid looking over to RAD, looking for a little bit of that bounce today. Good job. Half a million uniquely above the 13 and 50-day moving average. ONCY. What do you mean by unique? Uniquely, it is. It's been spiking. About $3 over the past 3 days. So yeah, it's above all indicators. It's above the 50-day, 200-day, and 13 EMA. A stock that spikes very hard like this, it's going to be above all indicators. But just means it's on the bullish side. The only concern is of course $5 resistance and getting a little overbought. I'm familiar. I don't see it that often. Yeah, I mean, any big time spike is usually above all indicators. If we look at ONCY, or if we look over at NVCN, NVCN's above all indicators. If we want to look at our top gainer this morning, NURO was above all indicators this morning for a bit. So I mean, a lot of big time breakouts, a lot of consistent big time breakouts usually do get over their over the all indicators, but usually when you break an indicator, it's a great time to buy. NURO starting to come back on down. Great job again to the traders, of course, getting in on this play, locking it up. But again, that one is starting to fall on down. So right now, I'm just kind of looking JMIA. JMIA, nice little squeeze pattern. JMIA, look at this 50-day moving average, 13 EMA squeeze. Nice little pattern right there that could bring in some nice momentum, some nice hype. I like what we're seeing right here. So we're keeping our eyes peeled on these plays. JMIA, nice little squeeze. We also had a nice squeeze over on ONTX. And again, one of the favorite things we like to look at is what? Right? Those nice squeeze setups. Right? Nice squeeze setups. That's what it's all about. Little side note, NVCN working its way on up. NVCN, you turn off pre-market. What do we have here? Red to green move. NVCN trying to get a little bit of a red to green move. Let's put this on the top level too. We can see again, if you look at the textbook definition of a red to green move, they count again breaking the previous close. I don't count that, breaking the previous close. I count again where the stock opened at. Where you open at, you go red on the day. Once you break that open, now you're green on the day. But I know again, if you gap up, you're considered already green on the day. But whenever you have this nice U-shaped pattern, it usually leads to a very nice break. It usually leads to a very nice move right here because that's all stock trading is. We're looking to find where the break of resistance is, right? We look to find where the break of resistance is, and where stocks break resistance is where we see opportunity. When stocks break resistance lines is where we see the best opportunity. If that is at the break of the open, if that is for NURO, the break of $5, if that is for IMAC when the stock broke $2, right? Who can name the three different types of resistance lines? Well, we're going to be having um, resistance at natural resistance and support. We're going to be having detailed resistance and support, and we also have previous chart history, right? These are all different areas of resistance and support you guys need to know at because that's honestly those three areas are going to tell you when to bounce a play, dip buy a play, or look for a possible breakout. Right? And if you guys do not know anything I'm talking about, I will post the video for you guys right here from the video library so you guys can check it out tonight. You go to videos, right? Videos, just type in RES if you want to for resistance. And what we have here is new support and resistance. And also the strength one is really good. That shows about which one is the strongest and which ones are the weakest. All right. So where else can we look for some profit right now? Let's go over everything. I know again, nice fun start. Where can we look for profit? We do have watch $18 support, right? $18 support, $20 target. That's what we're looking at right now. $18 support, $20 target. We are getting held up a little bit around $19, but that stock is moving. NVCN is dropping back on off. It tried to get a quick pop, dropping on off. JG right here. a little bit of weird volume as it's not, that consistent. But JG, this stock, your ultimate target would be 435-ish, this old spiking high. So JG, 435 target with 325 support. With 325 support. JG starting to move up a little bit. I'm going to put JG on the top level too. I am going to put SLGL on the bottom level too. What else do we have? ONCY, that's just basically going to be $5 target. ONCY, $5 target. This is a strong resistance line as well. It's going to have 450 support. Okay, so 450 support. IMAC is dumping on down. We also saw NURO dump on down, and also NVCN is now halted on the dump on down as well. Okay? So these are kind of the top stocks, and also let me check on FCell for you. FCell's trying to slowly move on up. That still has 235 target. So FCell, 235 target, and this is going to be having what? $2 support. All right. So these are, the top stocks to be watching on. Oop, we got to put SLGL. So you guys see the first one. SLGL. And now everyone's caught up. Now everyone knows, some of the best plays. Now, again, what are we seeing with our dumps or spikes to dumps? What do we have here? We have IMAC, right? We have NURO, and we have NVCN. These are all stocks that you probably don't want to get in anymore, right? NURO we nailed. But, you don't want that anymore. Focus on the stocks to watch. Here's all your support. Here's all the targets you want. These stocks are all the ones that, have potential behind them. FCell, yep, you could definitely put a nice little trend line on FCell. If you're saying, Deck, hit me with your favorite play. What do you think's the most consistent? Where do you think I can make money? Well, let's go over that real quick. So right now, FCell, if you're interested on it, it does have a little bit of a trend line. All you guys have to do is, again, put a nice little uptrend on it. As long as it holds this uptrend, it does have room to run. You guys obviously have a little bit of resistance right here around this like 222 mark. A little bit of a weird area, but it does have a little resistance trying to break through and get up to where? Get up to this money target line up towards around 235. Where am I getting 235 from? That's the kind of a random number. Look at pre-market. If you look back at pre-market, that was the pre-market high. So go back to about a 2-minute time frame, and you could see it, where we're at. That's the pre-market highs at 235. We go back to a 1-minute chart. It makes a lot more sense. Ascending triangle pattern, money target up towards around that 235 area. Okay, so that's what we have on FCell right now. Again, NVCN, hold it on the downside. Don't go after it. JG, look for the bounce at 325 if interested. 325 is where that stock, was able to consolidate at last time. You could see the 3 or 4 candles of green consolidating, and the stock could definitely get a bounce at 325 and work its way back up to 350. JG also has what? 319. 319 is the 50-day moving average, which would hold up as support as well. So you have 325 and 319. If you're saying, Deck, I really like a possible bounce on JG, put about, if let's say you're doing 5,000 shares, do 500 shares at around 325, 500 shares at 319. If the stock bounces at 325, you're filled at 500 shares. If the stock falls to 319 and bounces there, you're filled with 1,000 shares. Your cost basis is going to be right around 322. Make sense? So again, if you're looking for a bounce play on that play, that stock, you want to have 325 and 319 50-day moving average. IMAC, again, stay away from that play. You guys don't need it. And then SLGL, this play has support currently at 1875. What's one of the best, support lines, or what's one of the best support and resistance lines we know of? Well, 875, right? If you type in 875 in the video library, we have a whole lesson on just 875 rules, right? 875 is a great resistance and great support line. Check this out. And this basically, just add that $10 mark, goes right towards 1875. It's an area. If you're saying what's so cool about 875, what's so cool about 1875, it's an area that we're so close to $10 or so close to $20 or so close to $30. Once you break 875 or 1875, you usually always run up towards at least 20 bucks, and then or 10 bucks or 30 bucks, whatever, and then it always holds as a great bounce play area as well. It's a great area to always buy to make free money, and it's a great area to buy for a bounce play. As you can see, it already got one bounce off of it. Little side note, ONCY right here, 1, 2, 3 days of massive green right here. This stock trying to break through that $5 mark. I know right now as I'm talking, there's a few different options, but I know also it seems like what? People are over on SLGL. People are over on ONCY. People are looking over on JG. People are looking over on NVCN, right? It's kind of spread out a little bit, right? It's a little spread out at this time. So, you kind of have to find the one that you like the best and of course go from there. Find the stock that makes you happy. Find the stock that has the best potential for you in your eyes and say to yourself, all right, which one do I like? And if you're not loving any of them, you could say, hey, you know what? It's the final day of 2019. I'm going to, sit back, learn a little bit, see what Deck's thought process is, and then go from where. And then say to themselves, hey, you know what? I'm going to be looking, in 2020 to start up, my big time trading. So again, that could be an option if you feel like since you missed NURO, you don't want to get in, or maybe you nailed NURO and you don't want to put yourself in a position right here if you feel like it's a little too scattered. Can you make money today? Absolutely. Can you again, hop in on a stock? Absolutely. But the thing is, I would be much rather looking for what? A little bit of that bounce, right? I'd be looking for a little bit more of that bounce play because that is where you guys can be able to make some of the best profit. A lot of the times, buying for the breakouts, what is happening? Well, ONCY just broke $5, spiked up to 530, back down to 499, right? What happened on NVCN? NVCN broke $8, spiked up to 860, now back to 671. NURO broke $5, ran up to $6, back down to 425. IMAC, this stock broke $2, spiked up to $3, back down to 180. So what is this telling us? I just showed you guys 5 different stocks that all spiked and came back on down. So that either means what? Either A, you're in this stock before the spike. Every stock I went over, you're buying now before resistance because what are we seeing? We see a break of resistance, a quick spike, and everyone's locking in their profits quick, right? Or B, you are waiting for a bounce after the spike, right? You're waiting for a quick bounce play after the spike. But it does not seem like, if we look at IMAX, spike and dump, if you want to look at NURO, spike and dump, if you want to see NVCN, spike and dump, if you want to look at, any of the plays we were just bringing up, right? Spike and dump, right? We want to make sure we're staying consistent, right? So if you're interested on ONCY, don't buy at 530, buy at 495, right? That's where you to buy at. Don't again. I know people always want to buy at the tops because you're looking for the breakout, but it's better to get in at a lower area because the lower you get in, the less risk you have. That makes more sense, right? So whatever play that you guys are interested in, think about it in that manner. ONCY, we do have a little bit of an uptrend. FCell, FCell just touched our money area. Again, let's check out FCell right here. Just hit our money target. That's the after hours high, or excuse me, pre-market high. We are still on our trend line though. We're still on our trend line. We broke through resistance, so I'm gonna get rid of this resistance line. Get rid of that right there. We just hit our money target, which brings us from where our pre-market high right here, right? And now we need to stay above the trend. As long as it can stay above the trend line, so let's give this a minute or two to see if this can be able to hold on up. So FCell, just a nice, trend line play. CEI trying to squeeze itself. Got a couple nice little squeezes right here, right? And this is what I like to call 80-20 patterns, right? What is an 80-20 pattern? I talk about this a lot. 80% reward, 20% risk. Now, why do I say that? Why is CEI an 80-20 pattern? Well, it has a great squeeze pattern. It has higher lows. It has a lower float, right? So how do we have 80% reward and 20% risk? Well, CEI right now is trying to squeeze itself between the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average, right? I got to leave it a little bit smaller so you guys can see right here, because if I go too big, it kind of zooms out. We could see right here, right? Right here, we have a nice little squeeze pattern. If this stock can break out, you have massive reward. Massive reward. We have a low float behind this play. Again, a squeeze pattern. And again, the stock's building higher lows. If the stock doesn't break out, what's going to happen? It'll probably just, stay somewhere between, 190 and 180. So you have reward for the stock to possibly run up to $5 plus and you have risk for the stock to maybe go down towards 180. 13 EMA at this time is, at what price? 13 EMA is at 170. So you have dollars to make with only about 25 cents to fall, right? That is a lot of reward over risk, right? And again, we talk about how great these squeeze patterns are. Of course, where? Right here, type in 80, right? 80, and then here's our 80% reward, 20% risk chart setups. So again, make sure you check this one out. Gray Dog, why isn't the volume moving in on ONTX? So why isn't there volume on ONTX? Gray Dog, reverse that question for me. Why don't you tell me why would volume move in on ONTX? Right? Think about it like that. So again, hit me with that. What would be the reason on for ONTX to get volume? Right? And I could say, oh, it broke above its 50-day moving average, right? It broke above 50-day moving average, so that's a good sign if that's, your reasoning. And I definitely agree with that. And that's why yesterday it did get a little bit, it got a nice pop yesterday, right? Yesterday it did get a nice pop. It broke its 50-day moving average at 42 cents, and the stock went from 42 cents and spiked up to 70 cents. I mean, honestly, that's a huge move. That's almost 100% on the stock on ONTX. So again, if you're saying why is it not spiking right now? Well, it did just go on a spike yesterday. It's going to have to get back up to where? 60 cents before the stock starts moving back on up again. 60 cents is a nice area where it had resistance, break back above resistance. Traders start saying, oh, ONTX, this was a previous top gainer in the morning. ONTX does have a great chart pattern. ONTX, this is where, again, we're starting to see traders move back in. We could definitely see a new high. But people aren't going to start saying, oh, ONTX, yeah, that stock spiked from 40 cents to 70 cents, dumped back on down, has no volume in right now. Let me go buy that play. Does that make sense? Again, what's volume? Volume is that people trading and buying the stock, right? If the stock is not doing anything, don't expect volume to move in on it because there's no reason for volume to move in on it, right? It needs to break some sort of resistance line. So that's the way you got to always think about these plays. Little side note, EVSI just started taking on off ripping over on EVSI, popping up on the high of the day momentum scanner. So EVSI, what do we have here? Let's see, does this stock have any sort of news, or is this just a pump and dump and a half? This just went from $4, spiked up to $5.60, now back down towards $4.90. EVSI at this time starting to go a little bit crazy. Let's check out, does this stock have any sort of news, any sort of reasoning for us? EVSI right here, 9 days ago was the last time they came out with any sort. Let's check it out on equity feed, make sure we're not missing anything. Is this just a pure pump and dump over on EVSI? News, December 19th. Today is December 31st. Filings, November 14th. So we have no news, we have no filing, and we have no chart setup. The only thing I could think about on EVSI and why it would spike would be it did break its 13 EMA and hasn't broken its 13 EMA in about a month. But I think EVSI is a little bit more of what? A little bit more of a pump and dump. Don't you guys? Right? As I'm saying, there's not 100% a clear cut play right now where everyone's running onto a stock. If there is, please tell me because I don't see it right here. We have a little bit of action over on NVCN. We have a little bit of action over on SLGL, which is starting to come on down. We had a little bit of action on NURO. We saw a little bit of action over on JG, which is coming on down. We saw FCell, which is still trying to hold its gains on up. But there's not a play that everyone's running into. So what are people trying to do right now? People are going to say, hey, nothing's really going on. Maybe we could steal the mob. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to buy an EVSI, right at a random time right here of 9:47. 9:47. Hey, does it have any news? No. Does it have any reason? No. But hey, you know what? Nothing else is going on. It's a low float play. All right, I'm going to buy. Okay, you buy. Okay, I'm going to buy. Okay, you buy. Stock just shoots all the way up to 567. Now it's below that $5 mark, right? Don't get involved in a pump and dump. The predictability thing, which I do like about EVSI, is what? What's the cool thing about EVSI? Is where did these people start locking in their gains, right? That's a pretty cool thing. All right, back at the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average. Look at this. So this, even though it's still not a really great credible play, what's going on right now? EVSI spiked up to where? 200-day moving average, perfect resistance. Now where's it trying to hold up its support line? Look at that, right at the 50-day moving average as support now at the 472-ish mark. So it's trying to hold up a support. Let's see if it can hold up a support right here at the 50-day moving average. But notice the 200-day moving average was resistance, right? So I mean, I kind of want EVSI to dump because I hope the people who pumped and dumped this play lose their money. So I hope that that stock does come on down. But at the same time, you can see even the predictability about hitting the 200-day moving average and coming right back on down. Yeah, the guy in the back haven't done that a little bit. You all right? EVSI, you ready to buy? EVSI, okay, I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna buy. Yeah, yeah. Wait for me. I'm gonna buy. I'm coming. I'm coming. Right, and then he just pumping up the stock right on up, starts coming right back on down. If you guys have any questions, I know really fun time so far. Really fun time so far. We're able to nail NURO, and that was kind of the big morning one, right? But just like every other play, everyone left it after they got the big time hype out of it. NURO 575 all the way up to 616, and I know again I said this before, but how do I think about the mob in my weird little mind, guys? I think about it in so many different ways, but I think the best way to think about it a lot of the times is what you can think about it as I know it sounds so bad. You think about it as aliens. You can think about it as bees, right? And what am I doing right here? What was that example I did the other day? And right now you guys are like, Deck, what are you talking about? Mob as bees or aliens, right? Well, what we have here is imagine each one of these is a corn stalk, right? We have stock one, we have a corn stalk two, three, four, five, and let's say there are these insects, right? Let's say there's these insects right here, and all these insects are flying around right here, right? All these insects are behind a wall, flying around at the moment. And let's say all of a sudden that wall breaks down. What happens? All the insects go flying to stock one, and they eat up all the corn right here. And they go, oh my gosh, that is so delicious, right? But then what happens? Now this is like a dead piece of corn, dried out in the middle of the summer, absolutely nothing but a rotting stump now, right? So all the bees say, "Oh, you know what? Well, that's we can't do any one anymore. Let's go over to stock. Oh, corn two. Look at oh yeah, everyone eats this up. Now this thing is left bearish, left dead, left with nothing on it, no life whatsoever on that corn stalk. So they go over to stock number three, and they eat up all this right here, and it's so on and so forth. Now, how can we relate that to the stock market, guys? Well, the wall is 9:30 a.m. the time the stock market opens. Then what happens? The mob goes flying in. Oh, look at NURO. Everyone buy NURO. I'm making money. I'm having a great time. This is so awesome. And then what happens? It starts falling. Everyone says, get out, get out, get out. The stock starts dumping on off, right? Then what does everyone do? Hey, there's some good juicy, corn over on iMac. Everyone floods into iMac, eats up everything, and then they get all the resources they need and they dump it on off and leave it for dead. And then everyone says, hey, you know what? NVCN, that's the best looking play I've ever seen. Runs up on NVCN, takes everything they need. And then everyone starts dumping this play on off. It starts going on, right? And everyone says, JG, that one looks awesome. And they eat everything right here. And then they start dumping that play on off. And they say, SLGL, this one looks so good. This one's going to be awesome. Eat it up, eat it up, eat it up. Get all your profits. And then everyone leaves it out for dead, right? So this is how I think about the stock market. And again, what I say about like aliens is, you ever see Independence Day? That's what all the aliens do in that movie. They go from one planet to another, suck up all the resources, all the water, all the good things about a planet, then they blow it up and move to the next one. And that's basically what traders do to stocks. They get everything good out of it, and then they blow it up and go to the next one. All right, so that's just my little crazy imagination of how I think about these plays a lot of times, but it gives you a good sense of understanding about how these stocks work and how people influence the stock market, right? I think it's so cool. I think it's so crazy how that works. All right, there you go, Rapid. Yep, Rapid Stone, the Deckmar Trades New Year's Eve party. It will be on the corner of 5th and 8th over in New York City. It is on the top floor, the 120th floor in the penthouse looking over Wall Street in the Empire State Building. There will be a man named Jarvis at the door. Just let him know that you're here for the Deckmar Trades Rapid party. Okay, he will let you in. We do have, some big celebs there. Clooney is stopping by, Ashton Kutcher. Matt Damon, he always just invites himself. I didn't want him there, but Rapid invited him, so I guess he's fine. Just be nice to him. I know we don't want him there. Oh, Jason Bourne's here. Yeah, whatever. Okay. All right, no, but let's see what we got here the next, 30 minutes or so. See what we can get. ONCY, no news pop. Nope. ONCY, this play is just continuation, right? We've talked about continuation many times before. And again, that's all just from waking up and looking at what? Why does continuation happen? Continuation is from a top gainer, right? And a lot of times, what do we know? If a stock opens on up, or the stock market opens on up, and we see many plays take off, and then what happens? Many start to dump on off. People just go to the stocks that ran yesterday because they trust those plays. They say to themselves, oh, wow, that was a stock that was able to move consistently. And then that's where continuation takes on over. So ONCY, this stock doesn't have any news towards it right now. This stock did have what? This stock did have what? A very nice squeeze pattern of the 13 EMA and 200-day moving average. Nice pop, nice break, and the stock was able to move on up over and over and over again because traders said back on Monday, hey, you know what? This stock was able to spike very well on Friday. So then on Tuesday, today, people say, oh, wow, that stock was able to spike very well yesterday. And it's just be able to continue to move on up that way. Now, ONCY may have had news back on the 17th or the 26th. Let me check it out. Or it could be just from ONCY. Let's see here. When is the news? The 13th right here. When's the 13th? Okay, that's a little bit, early. No, 13th right here. Nice little pop right here. So I had the potential for a new biomaker, but yeah, potential is not the biggest word. And yeah, I hate that word, as you guys know. So it's really, again, breaking the 200-day moving average, which is day after day after day after day where everyone's looking at it and it's able to move on up. So what we have here, for example, LMPX. Remember this one, guys? LMPX. Traders looked at LMPX. It made them money the first day. Went to it. And the fourth day they went to it. And the fifth day they went to it. Whenever a stock becomes a top gainer, you always have to write it down. And why do you always have to write it down? Because if nothing's going on the next day, people will run back to the stock that made them money the previous day. Right? Does that make sense? Right? As I always say, it's like a restaurant. Every single day we're trying out new, going to a new restaurant. Every single day we try out a new stock, right? But if there is a restaurant that we know that's great, right, and we don't like the food we're currently eating, we'll leave that restaurant and go back to our old one. So, a lot of people, if you want to think about that for ONCY, they say, hey, you know what, ONCY, that was a great food I had yesterday, right? Great food. Hey, let me try out NURO. It did look good, but then it got ugly. Okay, let me try out, NVCN. Oh, that did look good, but then it got ugly. All right, let me try SLGL out. Oh, that did look good. You want to get ugly. And then people say, hey, you guys just want to go back to ONCY? I had a good burger yesterday. I had some good fries there. I got paid there yesterday. You just want to go back to ONCY? Yeah, let's just go back to ONCY, right? I know that one's a good one. So everyone just goes back to this play, and that's why,